Hi everyone, welcome to DIY Ideas. Today I'll show you how you can make your own cuddle blanket for a baby or for yourself. So I did a panda, but you can make pretty much whatever you want, especially if it's an animal, so I'll show you that version today. So you always have arms and legs on the corners. Inside I took some fluffy fabric to make it super cuddly. And then the head is also on top, so I didn't do any prepped pattern, so you can choose whatever you personally want and then just design it yourself. So it's going to be an easy project. Even if you're a beginner, feel free to stay tuned. So you will need two different fabrics. So for my panda, I took this fluffy white fabric and some black, a bit thinner but still pretty soft fabric. And then you will need any stuffing material of your choice for the head, as well as your fabric scissors, some pins, and something to measure with. I also have here some thread for your sewing machine, but also you see I'm using some regular thread since I will do a little bit of it hand sewn. So mine is transparent this time, and my sewing needle is here as well. So here is my prep. So you will need the actual blanket section, so 2 squares in my case. Mine are 25 × 25 centimeters, or you can do 10 × 10 inches, or actually any size you personally want. So one out of the one fabric and one out of the other, so the front and the back. And if you want, you can even stuff the middle section, but in my case my fabric is thick enough already, so I won't do that. Especially the top fabric, so the white piece, as you can see. So these frizz a lot, so it's best if you have your vacuum with you to prevent making a mess. So the head doesn't have a specific pattern. I'm doing a panda, but any other animal will work just fine. So you need 2 times your base color. So the main piece here, the head shape, I did it out of the white. Then apart from that, I did the ears as well. I did them 4 times, so 2 times front and back for 2 of them, then 2 eyes, a nose, and that's it. And since I want to do some legs on my blanket as well, I also have those pieces prepped. So I cut little rectangles. They are 8 times the same size. In my case, 6 × 3.5 centimeters or 2.3 × 1.4 inches. And yeah, we will do 2 together to get our legs, our 4 legs, and then we'll push them into the corners. So I'll actually start with the legs first. So you may have noticed I have here some fox leather fabric. So I won't take that side, but the softer one that's actually the inside. And that's why I'm putting this side onto the same side. So actually what I mean is pretty side on pretty side. The inner side should be looking at you this time. Then I'll go around like this, so I can turn the pretty side inside out. So depending on your fabric, choose your own side and make sure it's aligned properly. And I'll do that with all 4 legs. So I'll stitch, and starting here, of course, so on the one corner all the way around to the other side. And this side I'll leave open so that I can turn it later. We can also do the eyes and nose with a regular black thread. So just stitch it onto the base fabric and just the top one. So we want to leave the bottom one out, and the ears we do the same as the legs, just along the round side, and then we will turn them inside out. So now that we did all of the prepping, you can see my results, and now we need to turn it inside out. So I'll show you with the ear. So just turn it like this, super easy. It's a bit more difficult with the legs, but take your time and just work with it. You can also push it in with a pencil, but carefully so that you don't rip anything. So here are my eyes and ears. I decided to take the white thread instead. So it was weird to do it on this fluffy fabric. If you find something similar, just be prepared. It might be a bit tricky. Do little by little. And then you can position your ears, see where you like them. Then fold them like this, and then we can put the back side. Again, pretty side looking away from us, and that comes on top of everything like this. You can pin it and do a stitch all around, but leave a little opening. But stitch all around, make sure you do the ears nicely. Okay, so this is it. Now let's turn it inside out, slowly and carefully without damaging the stitches. My fabric was a bit weird to work with, so you may notice that it's not perfect, but it's not too bad. I still like the way it looks. So just make sure you use your pins so that you can have a neat result in the end. I think this will still be nice and we can still stuff it. So take anything you want to stuff it with and let's get to it. You can take a little bit and push it into the legs if you want them a bit thicker. Push it in with a pencil or your finger. Make sure you leave a bit of room so that you can push it into the corners, and a part of it won't be visible anyway, so just the outside sticking section that we want to have a little bit thicker like this. So now let's put it all together. So let's take our two squares. Then lay them flat without wrinkles onto your desk. Put your head onto your front section, so your front fabric, like this. Legs too. And last but not least, the back piece goes over it, but the pretty side should be looking away from you. Then we can pin it and we can stitch it up again along the edges. Take care that you go slower where your head is because it might get a little bit trickier, so leave a little opening either on the top or bottom so that we can turn it inside out later. Just make sure you're super careful and that you only sew the very bottom of the head with the stitch. So I'll show you. So here is the opening. So I put it like this, so that's where you want to sew over, just this tiny little section, and definitely not the head itself, just this little bit. I decided before I do the rest to do the head separately, as well as the legs, so that I have it easier later. So that way nothing will slip before I do the back piece. So I pinned every piece to make sure that it all stays where it's supposed to stay. And now I'll secure it by going there and back a couple of times, and that's it. So now that I did all of this, you see how I did the legs as well. So I decided to do them on each corner. You can do them differently if you prefer it some other way as well, so that's completely up to you. The head is on here, so now comes the last step, and that's the other side of the blanket. So I'm aligning and pinning. And now we have the final moment, so we need to turn this inside out. Of course, we will close the opening up later, but we will see what our blanket looks like first. Here is the back side, looks good. And now that I think about it, with the head the other way around, it would have also looked super nice with a black belly. So a little bit differently, but still pretty cool. So here is the front side. I'm really liking the legs and the head. So anyway, when you are sure that it's all nice and neat, and it looks the way you want it to look, then the only thing left is to close the opening you just did by hand. So we are done. An additional thing I want to do are the eyes. So I took some white thread, I doubled it so that I'm faster, and now I'll see where I want them and I'll go through. This was the last step, and we are officially done. If you use the same fabric as I did, so if it frays a lot when you work with it, but when you finish it's definitely fine, so it won't fray anymore when you do your stitches over the edges, so it's gonna look just fine in the end. It's just the cutting that makes it get all over the place. Of course, you can wash your blanket when it gets dirty, so you can reuse it and keep reusing it depending on the type of fabric you're using, of course, but mostly I think you should be able to wash it even in the washing machine. So I hope you guys enjoyed the project. So this is it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to shoot us a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking on the subscribe button. And that way you will stay updated with all of the new videos that we post. And it's all for free. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in our next project. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye!